Hi,
I'm Amy.
and I'm Laura.
And we are
TwoPaperGirls.
Me and Laura had a really good reading month in November, so we're going to tell you our November wrap-up.
And a little bit of a December TBR.
The first book I read was Feed by Myra Grant. Very excited to read this because it was a zombie book, but there weren't enough zombies. So it gets 3 stars from me, because the ending was fab.
That's good.
But all the way through I was like, politics. So yeah, 3 stars for Feed.
The first book I read in November, I actually finished on like the 1st of November. Amy read this last month. That is Bearwolf by, well, this is a translation by Shatam. It's actually by an old English guy, woman. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this. I read it about this time last year actually in preparation for university interviews, and I didn't enjoy it that much, but this time I really enjoyed it. I understood it a lot more, and yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'd probably give it like 4 stars.
The next book me and Laura both read in November was The Rape of the Lock by Alexandra Pope.
We both had to read this for university. It's a mock epic poem, so it takes the mick out of things like the Odyssey and Paradise Lost, and it was all about a woman that gets her hair cut, and it was all satirical and stuff. What did you think of it?
It was absolutely rubbish. I just didn't have a clue. It was just like got nymphs and stuff in it, and
I
it's
didn't
just
understand
stupid.
what was happening. I think the premise is clever, but I just didn't enjoy
The
it.
couplets are boring because it's poetry. It has the same rhythm all the way through, and it's just couplets, and it just drives you mad because it rhymes every line.
I'd give it 2 stars.
Same.
The next book I read was Uranoku by Afra Ben. This is another one that Amy finished last month, but I was a little bit behind on it. Amy really likes this. I do not. I don't know why. I didn't like the way it was written. It was very wordy and I didn't like the characters. It was too over the top as well. It was so extravagant and it's not my kind of thing. I'd give it 2 stars. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Next book I read in November was The Messenger of Fear by Michael Grant. No relation to Myra Grant. This book was so good. I was just so excited to read it because I love the Gone series, and when I found out that he wrote a new book, I was there. This book is terrifying. I won't say more about it because I'm going to review it. It's coming up soon. I gave this book totally 5 stars.
It was exciting.
It's brilliant and it's horrible and terrifying and disgusting, but it's great.
The next book I read wasn't as exciting as The Messenger of Fear, but it was actually really good, and that was Henry IV Part 1 by William Shakespeare. I was quite enjoying this, but I'm not a massive fan of history, but I enjoyed it 10 times more once I realised how much I fancy Henry V. Like, Tom Hiddleston in my brain while I was reading it, and he's just very tortured, and he's all like, just wants to be a normal guy, but then he has to step up to his princely, kingly role. And it was just good, and there's lots of comedy with this guy who really reminds me of, is it Pete from Toy Story 2? The farting pickaxe guy. He's, what's his name?
The protractor. Falstaff.
Yeah, this is Falstaff, who comes up in a lot of Shakespeare plays. So yeah, I'm really excited to read Part 2.
I thought you meant Stinky Pete. What's his name?
Stinky Pete, yeah.
What's his name? The protractor. No, that's a thing. The projector? No.
Stinky Pete.
Yeah, but... Oh...
The pickaxe
Tell us in the comments if you know what his name is. I'm really curious now. The next book I read in November is actually Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. I had to direct this, which was quite scary. Silently. Yeah, that was scary. But this play was really enjoyable. As a Shakespeare play, it's definitely one of my favourites, especially because we had to read The Tempest. And that was a bit heavy going, and this was just funny and light and well written and not so boring, I reckon. So this one gets 4 stars. Midsummer Night's Dream is good, and I love donkeys. It definitely goes bears donkeys, and there's a donkey in here, sort of. 4 stars.
The next book I read in November, and actually the last book I read this month, was Shatam by Tahira Mafi. I'm not sure how to say her name. I was really in the mood to read a fun book, and this was really short, and I bought it quite recently actually, and I was just really in the mood to read it. And as I was reading it, I was a bit nothing it. I was like, it's okay, it's quite cheesy. And I don't like Warner, which from other booktube videos I've seen, he becomes a likeable character. But in this one, he's just rapey and weird and shoots and kills people. But I really liked Adam. And then, like halfway through, I really changed my mind about it. I wasn't liking the writing style, but it just got exciting and less love triangle mopey. It just got really good, and the ending made it what I wanted it to be. I was like, when you have expectations for a book, I had expectations and it wasn't that. But then at the end it was. So I'll give it 3.7. Because it's not a 4, but it's not a 3. But it's not a 3.5. 3.7.
The next book I read in November I don't have with me because I gave it back to my boyfriend who I borrowed it off, and he's very happy that I finally got around to reading this, and it is Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. It was really good. It was so much better than Fellowship. It just felt so forced. Like, the movies are fabulous. Like, when you read the books, you're like, oh, read the book before the movie. The movies are great, and you wanted that to be the same in the book, but the characters just weren't as in depth, which is strange, but it's true. But in Two Towers are the same, and it develops and it's great. And the only problem I had with it is it from part 2, when it's just Frodo, Sam and Gollum and Faramir just for a little bit, it gets boring.
Yeah.
They're just walking and eating bread.
Yeah, I really want to read the Hobbit book before the film comes out. I'm just really I think you put me in the mood to read Lord of the Rings, but I don't have time for that. So
Middle-earth. We
I
love
wanna read
Middle-earth
The
now.
Hobbit.
So, Lord of the Rings gets 4 stars. The next book that I read in November is actually a play opera by John Gay called The Beggars Opera. It's like the mock poem by Alexandra Pope the Rape of the Lock, but it's like a mock opera.
Mock opera.
Yeah, brilliant. It's a mock opera, and it's just so boring and dull, and it is basically just 90 pages of their parents telling their daughters not to be.
It's really
promiscuous
offensive as well.
Very feminist. But I wouldn't recommend it. 2 stars. Didn't like it. The next book I read in November is The Eye of Mines by James Dashner. Like, the Maze Runner film came out, we reviewed it, it was brilliant. And this is going to be a trilogy as well, which is alright. I'm alright with that.
Should be a duology.
Yeah, he should just stop with the trilogies, especially if he does a shitty prequel like he did with Maze Runner.
But he's doing a better prequel, I've heard. Like, to do with Tom and Teresa when they're in charge.
That would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because, like, anyway, we're not going to go into Maze Runner. The Eye of Mines, it's sci-fi, and when I was reading it to begin with, I was like, do I really like sci-fi? I'm going to go with no. But you got about halfway through this book, and then it all kicked off. And it was very good, and the ending was like, my mind is blown. So sci-fi is good for that. It's just the characters didn't feel very connected. They felt very just like stereotypical sci-fi characters.
November seems to be like the month of endings, saving books.
The endings were great. This book gets 3.5 because it's not a 4, but it's not a 3 because the end is fab. The last book that I read in November was The Revenge of Seven by Peter Caslow. This is like the new one in the series. I got so excited about it. It's from the I Am Number 4 series. It should be wrapping up soon because it's all starting to go a bit pear-shaped. Not the series, just like the plot. Like, it needs to wrap up soon or everyone's going to die. It's so good. It's so brilliant. It's just so easy to read. I read it in like 3 days.
You read it? You finished it today?
I finished it today and it was awesome. I recommend this. It gets 4 stars.
Just going to do a brief December TBR for you. We're not going to show you books and stuff, but in general, more uni reading basically, but then also Christmas reading.
Yes,
so excited for Christmas. Like,
me too. I can't wait.
So excited. So excited.
Okay, what do I want to read in December? Jurassic Park. I seen the trailer for Jurassic World and I cried a little bit. It looks so good. So Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton.
Things I need to read: Henry IV Part 2. Henry V, The Tempest, finally, and Lyrical Ballads. So I have 4 uni books, but then I'm going to read so much Christmas stuff. I treated myself to the new Stephanie Perkins, well, the collection of 12 Christmas stories is by Stephanie Perkins. I didn't want to wait until Santa brought it for me on Christmas Day, because I wouldn't be in the mood to read it on Boxing Day. So I'll be reading that in December for sure.
I don't know what else I want to read apart from, like, obviously uni things, because when we get back in spring, it's not just like a poem here and a tiny book there.
Yeah.
They're like proper novels.
Jane Eyre.
Yeah. Dubliners. James Joyce.
Bigger books that we probably need to read
in advance a little bit.
Yeah.
But I also want to read And the Mountain's Echo by Khaled Hosseini and I'm the Messenger by Marcus Zusak.
I also really want to read Crown of Midnight. because I've got it waiting on my bedside table over there. I'm really excited to finally pick it up. And if for Christmas I get the Shatam sequel, I might just read it, because Shatam I read in a day, which is probably the quickest I've ever read a book. And I'm in the mood. I feel like it'll carry straight on, so I need to read it quite soon, else I'll forget everything. So.
Okay, so it's been a brilliant November. It's going to be a brilliant December.
Really good December.
So happy reading month, guys. Hope you had a good one too.
See you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye.